Good morning, AP. How are you guys? Okay, so we're at Unit 8. Unit 8 was about emotions, drives, and motives. Do you remember this? It was a long time ago. It was not a favorite of the chapters, but it's an important one. Unit 8A starts off with like drives, and then Unit 8B is emotions, then it talks about stress and your body. Is it coming back to you? Remember, you must review and you must practice, or you will not pass. So let's keep doing this. Come on, this is you and me. We're studying together. Okay, this chapter, like I said, has a couple of different components. Sorry about that. Okay, so it's about emotions, drives, and motives. Emotions, there's different theories about that. You have to kind of know them in order. The drives, things that direct your behavior towards a goal. And then motives is like what motivates you to do stuff. Okay, we talked about different motivational concepts. What makes you do the things that you do? So the first concept we talked about was instinct theory. I'll circle it here with red. Instinct theory talks about things that humans do only because it's instinctive. It's unlearned. Breathing, swallowing, eye blinking, these are instinct responses. They're evolutionary. So there's some things that we do because, instinct guides us to do it. Another reason why we do things is drive reduction theory. Drive reduction theory is right here. I'm going to circle it in red. Do you remember that story I told you about the pregnant girl that was out there in the middle of the night digging through dirt, and she was eating fistfuls of dirt, and she goes and visits her doctor, and she's crying hysterically, thinks she's gone insane? Do you guys remember what her problem was? Why was she eating dirt? Why was she craving to lick rocks? Remember that? She had super low iron. And so drive reduction theory says that we have a need. Then our body initiates some kind of, like a ball starts to roll in motion, and then we do something to fulfill that need. That's drive reduction theory. Now, I told you that story about the pregnant girl licking rocks and eating dirt. But like in reality, like what's more common? In the middle of the night, you're sleeping, right? What wakes you up? You need to drink water. So your body might be dehydrated. You are in a dead sleep, and all of a sudden you wake up because you have to drink water. That's drive reduction theory. Your body is needing something. It's being negated of something. So it needs water because you might be dehydrated. What does your body do for you? It gives you that feeling of thirst. So what's your instinct is to go up and get some water. And it'll happen to you in a dead sleep. The next one is arousal theory. I'm going to circle arousal theory because arousal theory says that we're motivated by optimal levels of arousal. We like to achieve things. We're curious. We don't want to be bored. And in fact, it's funny because a student, not going to tell you the name of the student, but they mentioned the arousal theory because they said they were so bored at home that they started picking up new hobbies. Could this be your need to do something? You want to get out and do something to fight the boredom. Arousal theory says that we'll do things because humans tend to want to be stimulated, not be bored. The last one of the motivational concepts is the hierarchy of need. Please tell me you remember this. Please. Do you remember this? Our guy's name is Maslow. It's a pyramid. Say yes. Please say yes. Please say yes. Okay. I'm trusting that you remember Maslow's hierarchy of needs. that says that we have to go through a series of steps to be the best that we can be. I'm going to show you that next. This down here is a link. I'm going to circle this in blue. I'm just going to kind of point it to you right here. See that little link? That's a link to Crash Course. You can cut and paste it on your browser. It'll show you a video about the different motivational concepts. Okay, so Maslow's hierarchy looks like this. You first have to fulfill what? What's the bottom one? Your physiological needs. You have to satisfy your hunger, your thirst, and if you get those things satisfied, you climb up the ladder. The bottom are your basic needs, like feeling safe and secure and stable in your environment. Do you know that dinner is coming tonight? Do you know you have a place to stay? Right? These are important things. If you don't have the basic needs, food and water and a place to call your own and a place where you feel safe, right? Can you really climb up the ladder to be the best that you can be? If you have the base needs, then you feel like, okay, I belong to something. Maybe you might feel love. This is what friends are for, right? You don't need to have, you know, a million followers to feel like you have friends, you know, or be like one of those Kardashians and have like 1,000 zillion trillion followers on social media. No, you just need a couple of people in your life that love you, people that you know that you could trust and go to. This is belongingness and love. And if you've got that, what do you have next? Do you remember? Come on, think about it. Did you say self-esteem? Because if you did, that's correct. If you have all these things, you feel like you belong, you feel like you're loved, then you have self-esteem. And having self-esteem, remember, Maslow's a humanist. You have everything. Self-esteem is the key to all success. And so if you have self-esteem, you can be self-actualization, the best that you can be, the pinnacle of yourself. You can reach, you know, the sky's the limit for you. You have a dream and you feel like you can attain it. You have something called self-efficacy, the belief that you can attain a goal. That's self-actualization. There's something missing in the triangle. Do you remember? It's called self-transcendence. It's like you're the best that you can be. That's self-actualization. But now it's like spiritual. Now you're not thinking about yourself. You're thinking about others and doing for others. And you're generous and you're altruistic. You're a philanthropist. That's self-transcendence. And according to Maslow and most humanists, you can't reach your goals unless you go up this hierarchy in this way. Got it? Yes? This is all coming back to you, right? Okay, do you remember the appetite hormones? And we had those really silly mnemonic devices, Oreos in the brain, orexin, remember, obistatin, gremlins is ghrelin, the poo-poo highway, PYY, lipids, no, are you remembering? Well, here are the mnemonics for you in case you need to review them. Okay, after you reviewed your appetite hormones, let's see if you remember them. Are you ready? Okay, let's study. The first one, the pancreas, right? It controls blood glucose. Can I say glucose? Which one is that one? I'll give you a hint. It begins with an I. And when you say it, you think of diabetes. Insulin, good. How about this one is secreted by your fat cells. When it's abundant, it increases metabolism and it decreases hunger. I'll give you a hint. It begins with an L. And you think of liposuction. Fat cells, get it? Which one is it? Leptin, good. Okay, here's the next one. This hormone triggers hunger. It makes you hungry. It's in the hypothalamus. So where's the hypothalamus? Your brain. Hunger coming from your brain. What do you have on your mind? What you got in your mind? Orexins. You got Oreos on your mind. Oreos, orexin. Next one. This is secreted by your empty stomach. It sends a hunger signal to your brain. It says, feed me. Come on. Old 80s movie begins with a G. Gremlins, Graylin. Good. This one's secreted by your stomach, and it sends a full signal to the brain. When your stomach is full, it says, hey, stop eating up there. We're all full down here. Obistatin. Remember the word obese is in there? Stop eating. You're going to be obese. Obese. Obistatin. Okay, last one. This comes from the digestive tract hormone, your intestines. And it sends a signal to your brain, especially when it's all jammed up down there, sends a signal to your brain, hey, stop eating, I'm not hungry. Which one is that one? If you think of it. PYY, the poo-poo highway. You got it. You know your appetite hormones. Okay, this is vocab from 8. What is it called when you eat more with others? Like when you go to a party, you're not even hungry, but you eat anyway? Situation eating. Good. That's why it's hard to be on a diet and then you go out with your friends and everybody's eating nachos and you're like, hey, why don't you have any? And then you have to explain, well, because I cut out carbs, I'm trying to be good. Situation eating, it's almost cultural. Okay, this word has to do with the ecology of eating and culture and portion sizes, plate sizes, the size of our fridge. People say that Americans eat a lot. We have big fridges. When we go to restaurants, they serve you very big meals on very big plates. There's a word that describes that. Unit bias. What is it called when you're 15% below your normal weight? Half of people that are diagnosed in this category are binge eaters. Anorexia. Good. What is it called when you overeat and then you follow it with purging or throwing up? Bulimia. Good. What is binge eating followed by guilt and remorse, feelings of sadness, even depression? That's binge eating disorder. Good job. Okay, you shouldn't be feeling confused because if you are, all you have to do is review the slideshow again. Okay, a problem that consistently impairs sexual arousal. What's that called? Those are sexual disorders. And remember, they talk about sexual disorders in this chapter because they talk about drives. And sex drive is a drive. What's the female sex hormone? Estrogen, good. How about the male sex hormone? Testosterone, good. According to Maslow, if you feel belongingness and love, you might have good what? Come on, you know this. You might have good self-esteem, the key to everything. Okay, we're going to go through these real fast. These are the reasons why we feel the need to belong. And oh, I just realized that I spelled feel wrong. It's fell, but the word is supposed to be feel. Why do we need to belong and connect with others? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is survival. We do better with communities. We hunt together, friends and family. We cooperate. We help one another. It aids in our human survival. It's evolutionary. Another reason is that we increase self-esteem. We want to belong. It makes us feel good. This is why we conform. We conform to hairstyles, fashion trends, the way we talk, right? Think about the people you hang out with. You speak like them. You might look like them. Your mannerisms are like them. Why? Because you feel that connectedness. Part of this comes back to biology. Remember mirror neurons? Exactly. Another reason why we feel like we need to belong, it's because when we're by ourselves, it hurts. It's isolation. It's almost like when you're in total isolation, it's almost like a form of torture. Remember we talked about even in jail. In jail, unless you're absolutely a detriment to everybody around you in jail, you can't be a part of the mainstream part of jail. They have to isolate you even then. And it kind of makes people have like stress reactions. It's very bad. The last reason why we feel the need to belong is because it hurts. When people reject us, it's the pain of ostracism. When we feel ostracized, it literally hurts. Remember that guy Kipling Williams where he did that frisbee thing with the dog in the park? Remember? And he got the inspiration to do his experiments because those guys stopped throwing a frisbee when he was playing at the park with them. And then he kind of went back and sat down with his dog. Remember Kipling Williams? Remember I showed you some of his experiments? Okay, so we are officially done with the drives part and the motivation part. Now let's talk about the emotion part. Are you ready? These are your emotion theories. Now here's where it gets complicated, so pay attention. Okay, the first emotion theory, and I'm doing these in chronological order, the way they appear in history, is the James Long theory. The James Long theory we know is kind of off because it says that the body does something first, then emotion happens later. An event happens, your body does something, and then you go, I feel scared. I feel love. So a statement that kind of models the James Long theory is like if your mom tells you, oh, if you get the butterflies, that means you love him. Is that true? If you get the butterflies, that means you love him? Doesn't sound right, right? If you get the butterflies, it means like you're a little nervous. If you get the butterflies, it means that, maybe you have to go to the bathroom. I mean, it could mean a lot of things. But does the butterflies equal love every time? The butterflies could be a lot of things. There's something missing. Do you guys remember what that is? You should be thinking, because that's missing here. The James Long theory is a body-based emotional theory that says that your body comes first, emotion comes after, and we know there's something wrong with that. Okay, the next theory is the Canon theory. This one is similar to the James Long theory. Um, well, not really. There's body arousal involved, but this one came next. It was a response to the James Long theory. These two guys got together, Canon and Bard, and they said, I want to make up my own emotion theory, but theirs is a little different. Here's theirs. Theirs is a neurologically emotion theory, not body-based. Sorry about the sound effects. Okay, so in their case, right, you see your crush and you have an attack of the butterflies, and that's the body responding, and then you feel love at the same time, right? Butterflies and love will happen together. Remember in class we talked about walking through a dark alley and you're super scared and your name is Amy and you're holding $1. Remember that? You're super scared. You're in an alley, right? The neurological response to that would be that your body responds, right? You start to breathe heavy, you get clammy, maybe even sweaty, you get a huge attack of the butterflies in your chest, and then you feel scared simultaneously. It happens together. That's the Cannon-Bard theory. It's neurologically based. People like this one a little better, but it's still missing something. Do you know what it is? It's the thinking. So, in response to these two emotion theories, they finally added the thinking. So in comes the Schachter two-factor theory. Very, very popular theory. It's been literally experimented with where they tried this out on people. So Shachter two-factor theory says this: when an event happens, your body responds first. Now I'm going to take my red pen here. When an event happens, here's your event, right? Your body is going to respond. That's what arousal means, that your body does something. Let's say you're walking through a dark alley. Body response could be your butterflies. Then you start to think. Here's the thinking. They call it reasoning there, but in psychology we call it cognition. Then you start to think, I'm in this dark alleyway. Nobody can hear me scream. I don't know anybody here. Nobody knows where I am. And then you start to get what? Scared. Here's fear, the emotion of fear. So their process is just like the James Long theory. It's body-based. So in blue, watch. If I do this and I take out reasoning, what do you think I have? That's the James Long theory right there. Body happens, right? The arousal happens. Boom, I feel fear. But Shachter two-factor, the reason why they call it two-factor is because they added that cognitive twist, that cognition, that reasoning. They think that the emotion happens as a result of your thinking about it. You say to yourself, I'm in an alleyway. It's really dark. I'm super scared. Nobody can hear me scream. Why'd I do this? Oh my gosh. And then you feel scared. Shachter two-factor, it's a popular one, especially if you believe that the body goes first. Okay, so lastly, Canon didn't have cognition, but the Lazarus theory does. The Lazarus theory is a neurologically based theory, just like Canon was. And let's go back to our dark alleyway, right? We're in an alleyway. I'm going to use my red pen so you can see. We're in an alleyway. Here's our event. You hear footsteps behind you. It's super dark. There's nobody around, but you hear footsteps and you have $1. You're walking around with your exposed dollar. I'm talking about the amygdala. And then you think about it and you think your thoughts. Here's the reasoning and thought process. What the heck? I'm in an alleyway. Nobody knows where I am. You start to kind of ponder all the dangerous things that could possibly happen to you. And then your body responds and emotion happens simultaneously. That's the Lazarus theory. It's just the Canon theory with cognition. Where's the cognition? Right here. The cognition I'm going to put in yellow. It's right here. It's the thinking. Now, if I take out the thinking, watch. If I take it out, I cross out the thought process right here. That's Canon. So I gave them to you in order. If you don't like emotion theories, you have to practice them. They're not very popular among the students, but they're popular among AP. And I got to tell you, out of the four, the one that I've seen the most questions about, Shachter two-factor. So know that one. Okay, another like emotion theory, this one was weird, is called the facial feedback theory. Do you remember this one? The facial feedback theory is a theory that proposes that we have all kinds of nerves around our face. We have nerves here where our eyes are, right? We have nerves here around our mouth. When your face makes an expression, it sends a signal to your brain of how you're feeling. So if you always have this kind of expression, angry eyebrows, right? The angry eyebrows are sending what kind of signal to your brain? Angry, angry, angry. So you might actually feel angry. If you have this expression, what's the signal being sent to your brain? Maybe scared, surprised, scared, scared, and then you might feel scared. It's the fake it until you make it theory. There's actual science behind it. If there's nerves on our face that send signals to the brain, isn't it possible that maybe your face is prompting it? So how about we try something new and change your face? If you constantly have, or maybe even force, an expression on your face that's pleasant, like a smile, maybe the smile right here, is sending signals to your brain. Happy, 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 and you actually might start to feel happy. Just try it. Fake it until you make it. With science to back it. Just try it. Can't hurt. I'm smiling. Okay, so this is not one of the emotion theories, but it does talk about emotion. And there's the low road to emotion and the high road to emotion. So I'm going to highlight with red. The low road to emotion is this one here. It's a fast, kind of very fast, almost like fight or flight response. When a fear stimulus happens here, right, it bypasses the frontal lobe, the critical thinking area, and it goes right to the amygdala, right? And then you respond to it. That's the low road of emotion, and it's very primal. It's very fight or flight. It's instinctive. So someone jumps out at you, you're going to react. That's the low road to emotion. The higher road to emotion, again in red, here's your fear stimulus. But this time, it takes the higher road, which is literally the higher road of the prefrontal cortex right here. And you think about it and you critically think, and then you react. It doesn't go immediately to the amygdala. You think, and it might actually calm you. So let's go back to our alleyway. If you go to the alleyway and it's dark and you hear footsteps, if you have the low road reaction, you're going to immediately be scared, have an anxiety or stress induced reaction. But if you take the higher road and you turn around and you see, oh, it's just the neighbor walking, or the neighbor's walking their dog, you think it through. You don't react incredibly fast. That's the higher road to emotion. So if you ever get a question like, what's faster? The low road to emotion. It's instinctive, boom, it's fight or flight. Whereas the high road takes the higher road. It's the slower path, the more thoughtful path. Now the spillover effect is something a little bit different. The spillover effect says the emotions of others can spill over onto you. It can even happen when you're watching a movie. You're watching a really fun movie that's like full of energy, action packed. You might leave the theater full of energy, wanting to do something because you're all pumped up. You watch a sad movie. What happens after the sad movie? You kind of feel bummed, right? And sad. What happens after you watch a scary movie? How about you watch a scary movie at midnight when there's nobody home and all the lights are out? What happens then? The emotion of the movie spills over onto you. You're going to flip on all your lights and you're going to be freaking out. And every little sound you hear in the house is going to freak you out. That's the spillover effect. It can happen also with people. You hang out with a bunch of bummers and everybody's sad and bummy. You might feel sad also. Spillover effect. Got it? Okay, let's check if you got it. What's a body-based emotion theory? You feel butterflies, so you must be in love. Did you say James Long? Because you're right. How about this one? A neurologically based emotion theory. You feel butterflies in the stomach, and then you feel love simultaneously. Butterflies, love, together. Canon Bard, good. Notice how neither one of those two did I mention what? Cognition or thinking or reasoning. They're completely devoid of that. So, how about when you feel the butterflies in your stomach, then you think about it. And you think, here comes your crush walking down the hallway, and you go, oh my gosh, they look amazing. This person is so awesome. And you start to think about it. Then you feel love or like or whatever. What's that called? The Shachter 2 factor. Good. How about right? The emotion theory that says you see your crush walking down the hallway and you think, wow, they're awesome. And then you feel the butterflies and love at the same time. It's the Lazarus Theory. Good job. How about you smile for a long time, then you feel happy? Facial feedback theory. Very good. Now I just want to point something out when I get my blue pen. James Long theory and Schacter two-factor are connected. Remember, they're the same theory, except Schacter two-factor is like an upgrade. It's a better theory because it includes cognition. I probably shouldn't say better because I can't say better, but I just did. All right, Canon Bard and Lazarus, I'm going to connect those in green because they're very similar, except Lazarus has thinking involved. Canon Bard does not. Good. How about after you leave the movie Creed, a boxing movie, you know, Rocky, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. How many Rockies are there? You watch all those like old boxing shows or movies or whatever, and then you want to box or hit somebody. The spillover effect. Good. Okay, in this chapter, we also talked about microfacial expressions. Remember Paul Ekman? He is that guy that they actually consulted with to do that show from Netflix called Lie to Me. I'm not sure if it's still on Netflix anymore. But Paul Ekman did cross-culture research on microfacial expressions, and he determined that there are 7 universal facial expressions. Here they are: happy, surprise, content, sadness, fear, disgust, and anger. So, facial expressions of emotion have specific survival value. Do you remember who said that? Charles Darwin, evolutionary theory. Who talked about facial expression of infants? That we have to, especially as moms, right? We have to read the facial expression of the infant. Is this an expression of pain, right? Are they uncomfortable? Do they just want to get picked up? Like, I have to read their face. Who studied that? Carol Izard. Who studied gender differences? That women tend to read people better. They look at their facial expression, they look at their body language, and they can determine an emotional response. That was Ross Buck did those studies. And I just talked about him, the most popular of them all. He did cross-cultural research, came up with 6 universal recognizable facial expressions. They also call him the human lie detector. What's his name? Ekman, Paul Ekman. Okay, let's test you on some words. Are you ready? An emotional release can be termed a what? Releasing aggressive energies through action or fantasy, relieving aggressive urges. It's a C word. And some of you might think music serves as this for you. Playing video games, exercising. Good. If you said catharsis, you were right. That releases aggressive energies. A problem that consistently impairs sexual arousal or functioning. That's a sexual disorder. Good. The last stage in Maslow's hierarchy of needs is called the very top of the pyramid. Did you say self-actualization? And remember, the next one is self what? Transcendence, the spiritual one. That one came later. The bottom of Maslow's of the pyramid. What's the bottom? If you said physiological needs, body needs, to drink, to eat, right? You have to have those bottom base needs met before you can climb the ladder up. Okay, remember, if you ever get confused or have questions or you need review, you could play this again. Okay, let's do some more. Ready? Brain chemicals associated with pain and mood. It's your body's natural morphine. Did you think endorphins? That goes back to Unit 3. Good for you. What part of the hypothalamus sends the I am full signal and it stops you from eating? I'll give you a hint, right? There's an L word and a V. Remember, this looks like a pizza slice and you eat it, you're full. Can you think of it? Ventromedial hypothalamus. Good. What part of the hypothalamus gives you the hunger signal? I'll give you a hint. L. The lateral hypothalamus. Think of L for lateral, L for large hunger, makes you hungry. And remember, if they say to you that the lateral is damaged, then you don't feel hunger. Lateral is the tool. It's like the tool that gives you the hunger signal. The ventral medial, if it's broken, if it's damaged, it could be an aneurysm, a tumor that puts some kind of pressure on the ventral medial hypothalamus, right? You won't ever feel full. That gives you the full feeling. If that's broken, you won't feel full and you'll eat and eat and eat and eat. Remember the fat rat in class? Remember we talked about this? What's the main neurochemical in the body associated with sleep? Give you a hint, or I'll give you a prime. I'm using vocabulary. It begins with an M. Melatonin. Good. What's that natural day-night pattern that affects your sleeping process? Did you think circadian rhythm? Good. What's a hormone secreted by the pancreas that metabolizes blood sugar, provides the body with energy? Come on, just say it. Insulin. Good. Type of sleep in which the brain waves resemble a waking state. You're awake. And your brain waves are doing what? That's the REM. Remember REM? Lots of brain activity. Lots of brain activity. It's just like if you were awake. Your brain, when you're sleeping, thinks that you're flying, thinks that you're swimming, thinks that you're eating. Your brain is very active when you're dreaming. What's a sudden spasm in your body that's caused by a tiny burst of brain activity while you're falling asleep? Did you think the myoclonic jerk? Because you're right. That was also a little review of chapter 5 right there. Okay, let's do some more. The inability to fall or maintain sleep. Insomnia. Good. What's the storyline of your dream, the actual images that you see? What do they call that? Freud called it the manifest content. Good. A physical or psychological response to a harmful or potentially harmful circumstance is known as what? It's stress. An individual's subjective interpretation or blank of a potentially stressful episode strongly influences your response to it. Were you thinking appraisal? The way you think about something, cognitive appraisal. Remember, in life, we appraise things and we reappraise things. Cognitive appraisal, I'll give you a quick explanation because this is something important. Cognitive appraisal is like when you meet a person for the first time. You just don't like them. Has it ever happened to you? You look at them and you're like, no. But then they start to talk to you and you find that you have things in common. And you're like, I like them. They're pretty nice. Have you ever told your friend something like, when I first met you, I did not like you? Maybe bad first impression, but then after you got to know them, you like them. That's called cognitive appraisal and reappraisal. You can first appraise someone and be like, I don't like you. And then you appraise them again and you're like, I like you. That's cognitive appraisal. The general adaptation syndrome was identified by what's his name? Remember the GAS? Hans Selye. The GAS, remember he talked about first when we're under stress, we enter the alarm phase, right? Then the resistance phase, we look normal, but we're really still stressed out. And then the exhaustion phase. Humans get sick, but animals under those conditions die, right? That's the GAS, General Adaptation Syndrome. The sequence of events involved in prolonged stress is called the general adaptation syndrome. I just explained it. The alarm phase, right? Your body gives you everything you need to meet the stressor. Then you enter the resistance and then the exhaustion phase. You can think about it as, I don't know, a bunch of new classes that you take and they're really stressful and every single class is just as hard as the next. What are you going to do? Your body gives you what it needs to survive. It pumps you up with adrenaline. You're going to stay up late and you're going to study. But then eventually, right, you start looking normal, but you're really still under a lot of stress. But then later on, you get exhausted and you get sick. This is why it's very common for college students, right, to visit the clinic, not so much during flu season, but during midterms week and finals week, because they're under so much stress, right? That's the GAS. What kind of personality type is hardworking and flexible? They're competitive. Remember those two letters? Which one are you? If you are hardworking and flexible, you have to have everything done and it has to be your way. Yeah, you're a type A personality. Remember type A, type B personalities? Which one gets a little bit more stress-induced reactions? And maybe they have a little bit more things like heart disease and things like high blood pressure. Type A personalities. And it's not like we need to change your personality. It's we need to change your TAPB, your type A behavior patterns, your constant urgency, the need to get things done at a certain time. Those are, personality aspects that you should change, but we don't want to change you because that's who you are. If you're confused, remember, open up that beautiful resource you have as a binder and study this unit. Okay, let's do some more. Blank is the emotion likely to arise whenever the future is doubtful. Anxiety, true. Survivors of extremely traumatic events are sometimes left with this anxiety disorder. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, could lead to depression, anxiety, flashbacks, depending on the nature of the trauma. Defense mechanisms. Remember those weird things that we learned about Freud? Defense mechanisms were first described by Freud. If you're turned down for a job or a date and you say, you know what, I didn't like that person anyway, I'm so glad they didn't call me for the job. I didn't want that job. What are you doing? It's a defense mechanism called what? It's called rationalizing. I didn't like him anyway. I'm so glad we broke up. Today's the best day ever. That is rationalizing because you know inside you're hurt. And what do defense mechanisms do? It's like denial. You're denying to yourself because it's easier at the time. It's easier coping strategy. Okay, the stage in GAS where the adrenal glands are enlarged, salt level decreases, kidney damage can happen. Animals die, humans get sick. What phase is that? Begins the letter E, and it looks like this. Exhaustion. You got it. Body ailments that stem at least in part from mental and emotional causes. Psychosomatic illness. What are some classic psychosomatic illnesses? Do you remember? Headache, stomach aches, right? Back pain. Sometimes those are classic psychosomatic illnesses. You're stressed out, you get a tension headache, right? Psychosomatic. You're stressed out, you're nervous, you might not be able to eat. Psychosomatic. Temporary challenges are also known as, stressors. There's transient stressors, T for transient, T for temporary, like job-related stress. Temporary stresses aren't deadly. We get over them. It might be hard now, but we see the light at the end of the tunnel. This will be over eventually. So you start to feel better. But this is the silent killer. It's constant stress. It's living in an abusive environment every single day. You work in a job you hate. Year 5, year 10, year 15. This is the silent killer. Chronic stress. This affects your health. Hypertension, heart disease, all kinds of cardiac issues can arise. It's the daily grind. Silent killer. Okay, we have successfully covered Unit 8. I hope you're feeling a little bit more confident. If you want more practice, hold on. Do you know who this is? I keep pointing the wrong way. That's Brad Pitt. Okay, do you need more practice? I pointed the right way. See all of these links? Cut and paste them to your browser. It will take you there. The first two are Cahoots. One is 8A, like your drives, covers all the vocabulary that we did today. The second one is 8B, Emotions and Stress. Everything that you need to know is there. Play a game. Call a friend. Play with your friends. Like use it on your phone app, but you don't have to play alone. Get together and get on with your friends and study. It'll help. Then that third link is a Quizlet link that has all the vocab in there too. And don't forget to stop by your AP classroom and check out Unit. It might not be under Unit 8, but just look for the theme. Emotions, drives, and motives. Go to that theme and check out some of those questions so that you could expose yourself to vocabulary. I'm thinking that's not the most important thing. You're probably better off Kahooting and Quizlet, doing games for Quizlet. So remember, the more you practice, the more you got this, and you can pass this exam, but you just got to put in the time and effort. Please find a study partner. It's so great to find a study partner. Reach out to somebody, and maybe you could, through Canvas or through Remind even, reach out to them and say, hey, do you want to study together? It might work. Miss you guys still. Love you.